Hello, everybody. Happy Mindful Monday. How are we doing out there today? It's always good to meet with you each Monday. And today, I actually really just want to inspire you with some questions. And I'm kind of digging for information and feedback from you just to really hear where you're at with things and kind of what's coming up for you. One topic I felt inspired to cover today, and I won't go into it too deeply, but just kind of cover it a little bit, and then I would love to hear from you guys, and then maybe we can go deeper in another video or in a teleseminar or a webinar. It's the topic of reclaiming your power. So, for example, there are all kinds of things that we can experience a loss of power in. Something doesn't go right in our life in some area, and we experience a huge loss of power. And that can be really dangerous because when we're feeling that huge loss of power, we can get stuck in victim mode. We can get kind of stuck in that mentality of like, why me? Or life, is always happening to me, and these things are happening to me, and whatever it is. And so when you're stuck in that loss of power, you can feel really unsupported. You can feel really misunderstood, so on and so forth. So today I'm going to cover 3 areas of where we lose our power and just kind of inspire you to dig a little deeper in terms of how to reclaim your power from that. So the first one is, are you feeling misunderstood anywhere in your life? Are you feeling misunderstood in your relationship? Are you feeling misunderstood maybe in the arena of your work? Perhaps you're feeling misunderstood by people around you or family. And this is a really big one for some of us. Some people really have this desire to feel seen and heard. I personally believe that if you're a human being, you have a desire to be seen and to be heard. And so feeling misunderstood can really feel like a huge loss of power because it feels like you're not getting your message across. You're not being received in the way that you are giving yourself to that person, place, or thing. So my question to you is, wherever you're feeling misunderstood in your life, whether it's in your work or your relationship or, somewhere else, is to really ask yourself, what could I tap into even though I'm being misunderstood? So even though you've got this message and people aren't quite getting it, or even though you have a certain intention in your relationship and your partner isn't totally getting it, right? Even though you are who you are and you're very clear about that, but maybe your family just doesn't quite get you the way that you wish that they would get you, right? What else could you tap into, right? Instead of focusing on, I'm misunderstood, nobody gets me, therefore life withholds good things from me, right? Instead of going there, right, because that's where the loss of power is, let's start to ask a different question, right? What could you tap into? What could you tap into instead, right? Can you tap into the contribution that you're making? Can you tap into allowing this whole experience to give you strength, right? Give you more clarity about who you are, help you in your resiliency to continue to show up and do your thing, even when people don't get it, right? Like, what else can you tap into? Can you tap into the magic, of your work, the magic of what you bring to the table? And what would that be like? And what else is possible from there? The second area is feeling out of integrity. So, do you ever feel like you can't quite continue with something because something about it isn't totally within integrity for you, right? So, for example, those of us who have our own businesses, there's always kind of like these models, like do X, Y, and Z, and then blah, blah, blah will happen, do A, B, and C, and then blah, blah, blah will happen. And I know for me, a lot of times that feels out of integrity for me. So what can happen when there's some way in which we're feeling out of integrity is we just stop, right? And when we stop, we experience a huge loss of power, right? Because the natural flow of life is to just keep moving and creating and ebbing and flowing. So when we stop and we feel stuck, there's a huge loss of power. So my question to you would be, where are you feeling out of integrity with something? And instead of letting that stop you, what if it was more about being able to trust what you know, right? So being able to trust your process, being able to trust how you do things, being able to trust your timing. And what if this was really about like trusting that it's okay and it's actually what the universe is directing you towards is to do it your way, right? Do it your way, right? So that you don't need to stop, right? It's okay that this model or this way that other people do things or the way that other people see things or whatever is different and out of integrity for you. And my question is, what would be possible if you could just trust yourself, trust your way, and do it that way? Let's see what happens. The third place where we experience a huge loss of power is when we're feeling unsupported, right? In our relationship, in our work, things aren't quite flowing, they're not quite moving, we're not feeling heard, right? We're not feeling like who we are is landing correctly. And then, so we experience this huge loss of power of like, man, I'm not feeling supported, right? And so my question to you, instead of getting caught up in that hole, you can see how dangerous that would be, right? Like, oh, I'm not supported. Nobody, cares. Nobody gets me. The universe doesn't have my back. You can see how that's extremely heavy, and it's not going to contribute to your growth and your expansion. So why don't we change the question a little bit, right? Let's change that dialogue a little bit. And instead of kind of focusing on where you're not feeling supported and making that be about you not being enough or whatever it is, let's ask the question of where might you be able to better support yourself? And a lot of times when we're not feeling supported, we don't really want to focus on this, right? Because we kind of want to stay in our story. But it's more like, let's see what shifts and changes for you when you are supporting yourself better, right? And it could be something very, very small, like a way that you've given up on your dream, or a way that you've given up on your desire, or a way that you have had a goal or an intention for yourself that maybe you're not following through on. I know from personal experience that if we just keep showing up, the universe will have our back. Right? If we keep showing up for ourselves, other people will show up for us. And even if they don't, it will be okay because we haven't done that self-abandoning thing. So that's my question for you is, instead of getting caught up and feeling unsupported, where can you support yourself better? Right? Where can you identify moments of self-abandoning and not do that today? Like, let's not do that today and see what happens. So I'm going to leave you guys with that, just kind of playing around with those three things. And what I'm really looking for is your feedback. I'm looking for where you're feeling misunderstood, where you're feeling out of integrity, where you're feeling unsupported, and how can I support you in that? How can I support you in that? Do you have any questions? Is there anything you'd like to kind of play around with here? Let me know. Please leave your comments here at the bottom of this video. And if you're watching and you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to this channel, and we can do this every Monday. So thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it that you would share it with a friend and share the love. And like I said, sharing is caring. So please let me hear your comments and your questions. I look forward so much to hearing from you. Have a beautiful week. Thank you. Namaste.